Okay, no time to wait on anybody to get on, so let's hash this out. The greatest challenge you're facing, I'm facing, or anybody else is facing, peace almighty, or anybody else is facing is your ability to focus. I know I've talked about this before, but I need to reiterate this again. The greatest challenge that we're facing is focus. And it's not about us individually lacking the ability to focus, it is lacking the desire to focus. Because we it's more entertaining to bounce around from this and that and to go with the flow, however you want to put it. It is boring, it's tedious, and it's laborious to focus your mind and to hone in on something and make it happen. Now, we are in a time where, yes, it is beautiful that uh, there's so much knowledge available to you pertaining to your powers and what you're capable of and things of that nature. But I was watching this documentary on PBS last night about uh, historical black colleges, the history of them, and I was looking at um, something else. And one thing we tend to do in the vantage point that we have in 2018 is to look back and talk about how we wouldn't have put up with this and that, and how they were shucking and jiving, and this person was this organization was founded by, I mean, all the different things that we can say. But one thing we can't deny is that we've benefited from whatever transpired before us, decades before us, some instances hundreds of years before us. We are the benefactors because we're able to sit here on something called YouTube and to expound on knowledge. Whereas a lot of those people in that documentary and our ancestors and lineage, a lot of them got killed for trying to read, got killed for writing, uh, got killed. They had a one brother who wanted to attend Oklahoma and get his PhD, and this was during the whole separate but equal thing. And they said, okay, he can't attend, but every class he had to sit out uh, in kind of like the foyer that between the hallway and the classroom, and that's where he had to sit during the lecture. How degrading is that? So we sit on our high horses and we all conscious and everything, and we talk about how we wouldn't have done this and done that. We are collectively very weak people now. And the old folks used to say you get wiser but weaker. Yeah, we know a whole lot, but we're weak. We don't have we don't have a lot of intestinal fortitude, the ability to bear and to deal with things. That's the downside. So I'm careful about how I go back and assess things, especially about the so-called past, when I'm coming from the vantage point of 2018. Can walk on any side of the sidewalk I want to. If anything, I'm gonna move over because I don't want to be around certain people, but it's not because I'm forced to step off a sidewalk or move, or I can't. You think about some of this stuff. So there's a something to be said about my parents' generation, the generations before them. Peace Almighty. There's a lot to be said about them, the discipline that they have, and we need not to abandon that. And although we have access to a lot more knowledge, information, because it'll make you lazy and it'll make you procrastinate and it'll make you make excuses where none need to be. So with that said, I want to show you something, and I'm going to show you the power of focus. I think you need to see some practical things that prove what the mind can do. And some things I don't feel like you're supposed to share, and but there are some things you need to. It's worth it. Now, if you go back to on my videos in August of last year, I put up a video called How to Build a Legba Altar. All right? And I've told the story several times about how when I was in the 7th grade, 13 years old, I drew this picture in art class, and it's in that video. I show that picture that I drew, and as I go back and look, I determined that was Legba that I drew. Okay? So I built a little altar for him. Now August is when I did it. I put the video up on August 7th. Now, let me tell you the significance of it. First, and that time of the year is called Beltane. And I always tell you about these Sabbats. And these Sabbats are times of the year where these veil thins and this energy comes through. All right? So at this time, I decided I wasn't thinking nothing about the date. I just said I'm going to build me a Legba altar. Put the video up. All right? Now, that time of the year is the direct opposite of my birthday, because that's the time that's around my wife's birthday. My wife is a Leo. I'm Aquarius. And I just talked about the other day about what this time of the year represents. It's called Imbolc, in milk, right? So we're talking about something about a birth, right? All right. Let me show you something, evidence of focusing your mind. Now, they always tell us, we learn that when doing any type of magic, you have to do it and then forget about it, right? Well, I sure enough forgot about this. I even had taken this stuff down off the altar because my son kept going over there and messing with it. So if you go back to that video, August 7th, you're going to see how to build a Legba altar. And you're going to see this picture on there. can see it. I drew this picture, and this is on my altar. All right. Now, at that time, I was needing to generate some funds, you know, just to make the ends meet. I had gotten a job, but you know, it was part-time and work you like a Hebrew slave, but I was still working with Legba. So what I did was, you know, Monday is Legba's day. So on Mondays, I would go out. There's a street down here in this area called Esther Boulevard. And see, this is where your studies come in. So if you think studying is some hogpotch, let me show you how it factors in. Because I recognize symbols and words. When I hear Esther, I know that's the same as Easter. And Easter is the same as Ishtar, Ishtar, where we get the word astrology from, where we get the word estrogen from, all connects with Esther. So I said, okay, I need to go on Esther Boulevard and do my little stuff with Legba. Some, you know, little ritual I made up. It was nothing to write home about, but I made it up. Let me show you something. The other day I was just looking at something. Now, you know, Legba's colors are red and black. All right. Now, I marked this out because you never know who the haters are online who try to jam you up. So I got the name marked out, but I'm gonna show you the logo for the company that I work for. You see that? Look at the colors. This is the little healthcare plan handbook. Look at the logo. Look at the colors. Look at this. Once again, look at this. Now, that might not mean nothing to some of y'all, but if you know what time it is, you know what time it is. That was, and this was just, and what happens sometimes is my son will come and grab something and throw it down. We got these square placemats that we put on the table, on the dining room table. He'll come and grab it and throw it on the floor. And the Spirit told me I need to stand on my square. He came and grabbed this little handbook that I just showed you, and he threw it down on the table or something. And all of a sudden, I noticed, damn, look at the logo on the book, and look at what I drew. At the time that I did that altar, I was angry and I was determined to make something happen. Now, we're here 6 months later. 6 months later. So that means over that time, you can very well come to a conclusion that nothing worked. I ain't getting no response. Nothing happened. But see, this is how Spirit will come back and remind you in the most subtle of ways that your intentions, your words do have power. They do have power. Do you know how much courage that can give you when you're about to go through something, or you're in the midst of dealing with something, you need real world confirmation that you have the power and the control that is due to a God. And I needed that reminder myself. So I got a task coming up. I've known about it, you know. But I'm ready. I'm ready. And you know, things come right when you need them to come, to give you what you need to have the confidence to act in the manner of a God. I mean, it's one thing for us to do all this talking and to do all this espousing and, you know, and this and that. But there comes a time, like Brother Bobby told us, when you have to commune with the gods. I don't know where you are, peace almighty, from the 33rd parallel. That's what's up. You on the, that means you on the same frequency we on. We down here on the 33rd. When you have to start communing with the gods, there comes a time, you know, and all of these entities that you know about, all these deities, all of these energies, they are in you. And you got to really ask yourself, do I really, really, really believe that I'm God? Do I? Am I really God? I know I found the scriptures that said that, and I heard all the teachers talk about that. But are you God? Am I God? Moses went up on the mountain in Exodus and asked God, who am I supposed to go back and tell these people gave me these instructions? And what was he told? It said, tell them I am sent me. As in you. This is quintessential to your walk. If I can't grasp this, if you can't grasp this, then what are you doing? What's the point? What's the point of it all? If I'm not becoming God, what is the point? So I understand now why all the turmoil started breaking loose in my life. Let's say 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It's because God had to force me to become God, or I had to force myself to become God. So I meant to bring a picture of my Baphomet, and on the right hand is pointing up, and he has salve on his arm. On the left arm is pointing down, and he has coagula. That's the word I kept butchering up the other day on the whatchamacallit. Solve means to break down. When you solve something, you break it down. Okay? Now, what most people don't understand is they think of the left hand representing chaos. Really, the right is the chaos. Because the right is dealing with solving. That's breaking down. That's chaos. There must be chaos so that there can be order. The left hand points down, that is coagula. That's binding something. But until you can bind something together, you first got to lose some shit. You need to give up some shit. And if you're having trouble focusing, it's because you need to take a bowel movement. Yeah, what do you do with a bowel movement? You remove some toxic waste. You get some shit up out of you. So in order to focus, there must be that period of solving, releasing. Solve, coagula. And then when that releasing has happened, then you're able to start binding something back together. See, it's time. It's time for me to bind up what has been loosed. Tired of suffering. I'm tired of lacking. And I have completed this portion of my initiation, and I'm ready for my rewards. Because I'm God, and I have the power to declare that. And here's the thing, and I'm going to say this and be done. I've never been the greatest at anything. When I played sports, I really had to concentrate to be a better athlete. You know, I had to work out hard. I was always strong, but I never liked running. So I had to go and train in the summers and run in the heat to get myself in shape. I was never one of those people where it just came easy for me. And I'm glad, because it creates a spirit in you to understand the necessity for laboring for something. But one thing that I've yet to meet anyone who can beat me at, it is focusing my mind. When I focus my mind and I make my mind up, I'm going to do something. Peace Almighty. When I make my mind up that I am going to do something, there's not a motherfucker in the universe that can stop me. Now, I got track record on this shit. You can ask my mama. I've taken a lot of ass whoopings because my mind was made up I was going to do something. That's why my son can really get on my nerves sometimes, but I love that little fella because he's determined. And in a world where you can easily be swayed to and fro and be led by this or that, you know, it's very necessary to have a strong mind. Now, sometimes that can get you in trouble because you don't know when to give up something. And I suffer from that too. But I'll take my losses because, you know, the battle, I want y'all listen to what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have to make this shit sound exotic. I don't have to make it sound groovy. I am telling you that the battle is for the mind. That's it. That is the only motherfucking battle there is, for your goddamn mind. Star Wars, the Jedi, the movie It, all these things are coming down to one damn thing: your mind. Your mind is the final frontier. Now, it can sound boring, it can sound whatever, however you want to label this shit, it don't matter. The truth stands the test of time, and the truth will always be the truth. Now you can bank on this. So focus your mind. Focus your mind. Peace.